Now that we created our background and ground and made it animate and run as a scrollable infinite background, we are going to add our player on the scene. Now, if by any reason you don't see the player, just watch your Z option. If I hit -10, it won't appear, so let's say -9 is okay. But as long as you're a 0 or something, it should be fine. So, adding our player. Now, if we watch our player, it's just a little bit too big for the game. I suggest we small it down to 0.7. What the hell just happened here? Here. 0.7. Let's see now. We didn't do our freeze the rotation, so let's just exit the play mode and set it to 0.7, and this also 0.7, and this should be 7 minus 2, 3, say 2.8. I believe it's fine. Now freezing the rotation and the gravity scale to add it to 2. Let's say hit the overrides and apply all. So let's just make sure that we did it the right way. If I go to my 0.77, freeze the rotation, gravity scale. Where's the gravity scale? Yes, it's 2. Just put it down to 8. Now the reason that we did the override and added the apply all button is because we wanted to make the changes here to affect the player's prefab. So basically, if I'm changing over here, it refers only to the player on the hierarchy, not the player on the prefab. This is the pre-settings that we did before. So when we want to change and the changes will take effect to the prefab so we can reuse it over time, we hit the override and apply all. If we don't want to do that and we only want to change some changes for only the player on the hierarchy, so we just don't do that. We keep the settings over here, but it's not recommended, so it's entirely up to you. Now I'm just noticing that the player is moving a little bit too fast. The player animation event has no function name specified. Okay, the player animation will go to our player prefab and hit the animation, hit the player, hit the animation, and we just want to see, oh yes, I think that we found our problem. You just need to delete the animation event, or if you want to add an animation event, then we'll talk about that later. So basically we didn't need the animation event, so we could just delete that. Let's go to the console. Wow, just now it's gone. The error is gone, so we can move on. Now go into our animation, and I wanted to slow down the speed of the breathing, so I'll go to the animator and hit the idle player animation in order to control the animation. I'll just hit the apply. Now as you can see, it's a little bit slower, so now you can tell as you like. So 0.6. I believe it's fine. Okay, now making our player to jump, we need something to trigger it. Okay, so for that we're gonna create a button. Just go to the scene and set game objects UI, and we have a button. Just want first to reconfigure the canvas. Go to canvas right over here and go to screen space and change it instead of overlay, go to screen space camera. Now it asks for a camera, so we take the main camera and add it over here. We change also the UI scale mode to scale with the screen size, and here I suggest that we change it to 1280 on 720. Now we go to our button and we set it for 0, 0. As you can see, it's on the middle over here, and if I focus on that, that's our button. So we're just gonna change the name, and I'll change it to jump button. Then we're gonna remove the text from it, just delete that. Okay, now we're just gonna get the rect tool. Basically, if you have the 4 scale sizes, we're just gonna make it a little bit bigger so it can fit the bottom half of the screen, and we're gonna set the color alpha mode 0, so it's gonna be transparent. So basically it's gonna take the effect of the clicking the button, but we won't show the button, so it's gonna be a transparent button, but we're gonna add a function to it that will make our player to jump. Alright, now let's go to our project over here, go to scripts, and we're gonna add a new folder called layers scripts. We're gonna add a new script called player jump. So attaching the player jump to our player over here. Okay, or add it to our player. So now we can see our player jump attached. But first we're gonna override apply all so it can take effect on the prefab. Let's go to Visual Studio, and here we're gonna, let's say player jump, and we're gonna add a few lines so we can see the center of it, just saving all the time. We'll go to the Unity and click File, Save. Now go into the Visual Studio. Now the first thing that we need to do is just engine.ui, so we can use the UI, so we can use the button reference. So we'll start by adding a few variables. Okay, now add in a serialized field and private audio clip jump clip, and another and a private rigid body 2D, and we're gonna call that my body. It's not my body, it's the player's body, but whatever. Okay, we're gonna add just a private float called jumps, equals to 12f, and another one called forward force is equal to 0 at the moment. Basically, this is a way of typing variables from the same subject. If you have a couple of floats, then you can add it like this. If I'll do like now, I just have to type. That's the same thing. So basically, this and what was before is the same thing, but we're just gonna add it if. Okay, saving again. Control S, or just click here on the disk. And another couple of variables. One is private bool called canJump, and a private button called the jump btn. Now we'll start by changing that to wake function, and to get the rigid body, I'm gonna reference my body is equal to get component rigid body 2D, and let's wait. Okay, for the jump button, I'm gonna equal to a game object dot find, use the same name that we named over here. So just type in the jump button, okay, and make sure that we have the same name over here, because this is only inside of brackets, so it have to be the same name. But we want the button's component, so it's a get component, and it's a button. Let's see, no errors. Okay, under the update, it's gonna jump function, and it's gonna be private void jump, maybe capitalize over here, and in here, in the wake, the jump btn dot add. Sorry, it's on click. Add listener. And here we're gonna open parentheses, jump animation, yes. Now before adding anything to our jump function, let's make sure that first thing it works, that the button is assigned as correctly and everything is working. Doing so by adding this simple line of code. Just add print, open brackets, parentheses, hello, as you can see over here, and just save this. Click over here. Let's go to Unity. Wait for it to add our adjustments. Now basically, if I click over here, nothing happens. If I click over here, I get to see the hello that we assigned. So this is absolutely working, so we can proceed. I'll just delete that. Now the first check is if canJump, then canJump is equal to false. So we won't jump again. If we can jump right now, clicking will disable the jump again, so it won't double jump. This is the first thing. Now, if our transform.position .x is larger than 0, sorry, less than a 0, then our forward force is equal to 1F. Copy. Now else forward force will be 0. Now by doing this check, I'm just gonna hit our player. Now if the player just see that is on the 0 on the x-axis, the obstacles will come from the right side over here, and if the player is at the negative less than 0, it can be jumped, and the forward force, let's say, is jumping, and the forward force will be 1. That's why we're doing that check. Heading back to our code. Now after we checked all this, I'm gonna type in my body dot velocity is equal to new v2 is vector 2, and this is gonna be the jump force and the jump sorry, not the jump, the forward force. Saving that. Now here we're gonna add audio source, play clip at point. Here we're gonna add the jump clip, and the transform dot position. Alright, now in order to determine if I can jump and get the whole process over here, I'm gonna make a simple line of code in the update function, and I'm gonna ask one simple thing: if mathf.abs, it gives it's absolute, only gonna give a positive, and I'm gonna check if my body dot velocity dot y is equal to 0, then the can jump is true. Basically the velocity dot y is if going up. If it's on the 0, if the number is 0, then I can jump. If I'm already at airborne, I can't jump because the velocity of the transform my body, rigid body, velocity y is above the 0, so I can't jump. Otherwise, if it's a 0, I can jump. Now, the only wrong thing that we did over here is in this line over here. I'm gonna change that and make it okay. Now let's check it out. Don't forget to save. Now let's play it. Okay, it's not. Let's see what we did wrong. Here it's giving me that the unassigned reference the jump clip. Oh, okay, this one is not. It's not the one that's causing the problem, but let's return. Okay, now I realized the problem. The first thing that we need to do is set the ground to 0, and then the background to get it a little bit higher. That's just a little bit higher, and then the camera camera also a little bit higher. We can adjust it according to the camera preview, and let's just check it out. Okay, now because we determined the button on the center of the field, it's gonna activate if it's on the bottom half of the camera, because we did the button according to the main camera. That's why it's working over here. And because the player was at the 0 position at the y-axis, now it's working. Now let's return to the Visual Studio and delete this one. Control S. Now going to our player over here, and we just add the jump clip. Let's go to the project, assets, sounds, and jump. Let's add it over here. Let's check it out. Alright, now we can hear. Now if we take the player's position over here, we'll see that it's jumping a little bit forward. So that's the forward force. Thank you guys for watching this video. I'll hope that you will continue watching our next videos, so just stay tuned, because we're gonna try to get the good stuff on the next videos. So thank you for watching.